Okay. So in yesterday's class, we have been discussing about a small. We have been discussing about this time complexities, right? Uh, so time complexity. So I know by now you would have understood how to calculate the time complexity, at least for the simple code, simple algorithms. So let us walk through the yesterday's code, which we thought we will discuss today. So so this is the code we were discussing, I guess, for I is equals to n, I greater than 1, and I is equals to I divided by 2. Okay. So now let's analyze. So what are the values of I? So I starts from n, right? So what is the initial value of I? So how the value of I goes through? Like what are the I values? So first it would be n by first it would be n, right? First value is I is equals to n. So I is equals to n. Then what is the next value of I? What would be the value of I for the next time? Yes, n by 2. The next time, n by 4. That's right. So next time, n by 8, right? Then n by 16, so on, right? So if you see, this can be written as n by 2 power 0, n by 2 power 1, n by 2 power 2, n by 2 cube, so on to n by 2 power k. So when this condition would fail, literally n by 2 power k less than 1, right? So n is less than 2 power k. When we apply log on both sides, it would be log n. Okay. What is the time complexity here? The time complexity would be log n to the base 2, or simply log n. Clear? Is that clear? So this is how you calculate the time complexity of this equation. Sorry, I for this algorithm. Okay. Okay. So let me ask you one more thing. Okay. So this is all about for loops. From yesterday, we have been seeing all the for loops, right? So now, what is the time? What would be the time complexity for this if I is less than 2? Do something. What would be the time complexity of this equation? So how many times this would run? How many times this would run? It's so okay. I will initialize I is equals to 4. Just one time, right? One time. So time complexity is O of 1. Otherwise, we'll call it as constant time. So this is the best. Is this the best time complexity? O of 1. O of 1 is the. So it's considered to be the best time complexity. Okay, right. Okay, fine. So there are lots of why in the programs what we write, right? So probably there are while conditions. There is a while condition and some statements to do. right? And then there are something called as do while. If you take that in C, it's called do while. And if you see some old languages, any old, I mean, you can say that as like very old languages. If you see, there are some looping conditions like do until. So modern day languages are something usually go with while conditions. I think only this, right? Old, I mean C, which is in between the old and the new. So it has do while, and some of the very old languages still have this kind of do until kind of loops. Very old still have this kind of equations. Okay, so now we will see what would be the time complexity of while loops. So see, while a is less than b, and let's say we have some statements, and a is equals to a multiplied by 2. Let's take this. A is a multiplied by 2. What would be the time complexity now? What is the time complexity of this? What would be the time complexity? Log n. So Aravind, are you able to get this log n, Aravind? Okay, sure. Okay, before this, let me convert the same thing into the for loop first. For a is equals to 1, a less than b, a is equals to a multiplied by 2. Have some statements. Okay. So this is both equal. Edwin, is this both equal by logic? Okay. So what is the time complexity of this? The same way, this is also log n. See, conventionally, when I try to explain you with for loops, so you were following with the for loops, but whenever I try to convert the same for loop into while loop, you were, I mean, it is a little bit difficult for you to decode, but still, if you can explain me why this is log n, the same thing applies to here. So a less than b. Okay, when this condition would fail, this condition would fail when a is greater than b. Okay, so if you take the values of a, again the same logic, so that would be 2, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, so on. So that would be log n, right? A greater than b. So what is a? 2 power k. So k is greater than b. So k is log b. So usually we have to say in terms of b, then it is log b. It's fine if you can tell in terms of n, that is fine. Clear, Arvind? Clear? Is it clear? How about Raj? Raj, is it clear? I think Raj should be fine. Arvind, are you clear? Do you want me to explain more? Okay. So this is how we calculate. So there is one. Now let's try to see. Let's try to see a small. So let's. I'm having an algorithm here now. Algorithm is nothing but just think it as a function, or think it as a procedure, function, whatever it is. So I have an algorithm for n. If n is less than 5, then print something, print the value of n. Okay. Else for I is equals to 1, I less than n, I plus plus. I do have some statements. Okay. Now tell me what is this? What is the time complexity of this algorithm? What is the time complexity of algorithm of this algorithm? Okay, answer me one thing. O of 1. Okay, O of 1 or okay, O of 1 or O of n. Okay. So when you see this entire algorithm, when you consider this algorithm, it's very simple. You know how to calculate. What is this? Arvind, what is the time complexity of this algorithm for this entire statements? Just this. Yes, O of 1. For this else part, excellent, O of n. So it depends on the value of n, right? So if n is less than 5, then it would be O of 1, and if n is greater than 5, then it would be O of n. So how to express this kind of algorithms, explain this kind of time complexities? So then we tell that best time complexity, that is, if best time, what is the best time complexity of this algorithm? That is O of 1. That is a simple way. Like, if this algorithm has to run in the best time complexity mode, then it would be O of 1, and in the worst time complexity, then it would be O of n. Okay. Whenever you see this kind of algorithms, when you can't say, uh, whenever the algorithm depends on some value and have a different runs. So if n is less than 5, it has a different run. When n is greater than 5, it have a different run, right? So whenever you see those kind of things, then you always express time complexities in best time complexity and the worst time complexity. Okay, so clear? Is that clear? So that is what we call it as best time complexity and the worst time complexity, right? So now let's see what else. This is fine. Okay, I think I've covered most of the part. I think I've covered everything. Just thinking what else. Okay, let me try to come up with some other some other problem. Okay, so I have j is equal to 0 for I is equals to 1, j is less than or equal to n, I plus plus, P is equals to P, oh sorry, J is equals to I plus J. Okay, so what is the time complexity of this? So how many values do you see? So how this run, for loop depends on how many values. On how many values this for loop is dependent on? They're dependent on just I. Three values. Okay. Okay, fine. Three values, two. Okay. So this is just a condition. So if you see, it's just checking value, right? So usually this for, yeah, Aravind is also right and Raj, you are also right. Okay. So, but whenever we are calculating the value, whenever we are trying to see, whenever we are trying to calculate the time complexity, we always consider the changing values, not the condition. Condition is just for our derivation, equation derivation. If you see in the before, in the previous examples, we when this loop gets uh, when this when this loop gets exited, it exits at j is greater than n. So to derive this, we use this condition variable. Apart from that, this entirely depends on I and j values, right? Both I and j. So if you see I and j values, j is less than or equal to n, I plus plus, and then j is equals to I plus j. J is equals to, okay. So so what are the values of I and j? At first step, what is the value of I? At first step, what is the value of I? 1. What is the value of j? So what is the value of j? Value of j is 2. 2 is a 2. 2 or 1? 1. Right. So at the second step, what is the value of here? Yeah, I'll tell you. For the first time, I is 1. It comes here, it checks the condition. Let's assume that this is true condition. Okay. So what happens to j? What is the value of j? J is 0. So 0 plus 1, right? Here 0 plus 1. So what is the value of j? J is 1. So that is the first step. The second step, I is 2 and j is 1 plus 2. So when it is 3, it is 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I'm just trying to frame the entire thing. When it is 4, then it would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, right? So the same way, whenever it is k, it would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus so on till k. Agreed? Will this be the values of I and j respectively? Aravind? Raj? Yes. Okay. So what happens now? So when the condition will break, j is greater than or equal to n. So let's, for simplicity's sake, let's take j is greater than n. Okay, j is greater than n. So what is the value of j? this entire thing. So it would be like 1 plus 2 plus 3, so on, dot 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 k greater than n, right? So what is the sum of sum until k? How can we express the sum? 1 plus 2 plus 3 so on till k. What is sum of the series? K into k plus 1 divided by 2, right? K into k plus 1 divided by 2. So this is nothing but a AP. This is an arithmetic progression, right? So sum of n terms in arithmetic progression is n into n plus 1 by 2. So it's the same way, k into k plus 1 by 2. Clear? This is clear, k into k plus 1 by 2. Yes, okay. So that should be greater than 1. So if you see this, then it would be like k square. So let's k square plus k by 2 greater than n. So k square plus k greater than 2n, right? If you send this to n, so 2n, n or 2n, what happens? It's just n, right? N or 2n, doesn't matter, it's just n. N multiplied by anything, it's just n, right? Any constant, it's just n. So k square greater than 2n. So I'm neglecting this k because if you add any k term to the k square, it would be like k square plus something. So I'm considering that as k square. Clear? So if you take any big number added with a small number, because k square is double of k, if you add that, that will not become k cube, right? If you multiply that with k, then it becomes k cube. But if you add something to the k square, what it would be just like just k square. So we are not going to take that as into k square plus k. For simplicity's sake, we just make it as k square. So is it clear why I have taken that as a k square? Is different. K square greater than n. So what would be the k? K is root n. So what is the runtime complexity of this algorithm? It is log root n. Clear? Oh, sorry. It's not log. Just root n, right? O of root n. It's not log. It's just root n, right? We don't have any base here. It's not 2 power k or anything. It's just k. K is less than root n. So it is, this is O of root n. Clear? Aravind, Raj. Okay. So now let me give you one small problem. Let me see how you are performing this. So this, I'm not going to explain this. You have to come up. For I is equals to 0, I less. Okay, one more thing. See, for loop or any kind of loop, this is how you calculate. Okay, so probably by syntax it may vary. While loop takes a different syntax and for loop takes a different syntax, but the way the time complexity is being calculated remains the same. That's what I try to explain you when I quoted an example with a while loop. Okay, so it all depends on how the loop mechanism is, how it is running, to what variables it is dependent on, what is the condition it breaks, and you try to generalize it. Okay, so and one more thing, in the previous example it is just k square plus k. If it is k square times k, then you shouldn't neglect this, you should always take it as k cube. Then what would be the time complexity? It will be cube root of n. Okay, always remember this. Since it is k square plus k, I'm just neglecting because it's a big number added to a small number, it always remains big number. So I'm just taking it as k square. Okay, let me come here. For I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and for j is equals to 1, j less than n, j is equals to j times 2, and there are some statements. Okay, see, for j is equals to 1, j less than n, j is equals to j times 2. What is the time complexity of this? Take your time. Okay, so what is the time complexity? Just just think this is STMT statement. Okay, what is the time complexity now? What is the time complexity of this problem? N, right? N. Let see, whenever you're trying to do this, just make this as n first. Okay, so whatever inside the loop, it gets multiplied. Okay, whatever outside the loop, it gets added. Whatever inside the loop, what happens? It gets what? Okay, so whatever outside the group, it gets added. Whatever inside the group, time complexities will get multiplied because it runs for that many times, right? If it is outside the loop, it runs for that, just runs for that many times. If it is inside, it is just like iterative process. It's just I mean, it iterates. So that's why it gets multiplied. Whatever inside the loop, whatever outside the loop, it gets added. So what is the time complexity of this statement now? Sorry, for of this statement, what is the time complexity? J is equals to 1, j is less than n, j is equal to j times 2. So what is the time complexity of this? So what is the time complexity of this? What is the time complexity of the statement block? This one, this entire. How? How often? J is equals to 1, j is less than n, j times 2. So what are the values of j? What are the values of j? What is the value of j for the first time? 1. Second time? What is the second time j value? What is the value of j for the second time? 2, right? What is the third time value? 4. Yes, 1 to 4, 6. So how can we express this? 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 square, 2 cube, so on. So what is the so how can we write this? At j is greater than n, it breaks. So can be written as 2 power k, right? So we consider this as 2 power k. 2 power k greater than n. K is greater than log n. So what is the time complexity of this equation? log n. What is the time complexity of the entire algorithm? It would be n log n. Clear? Clear? Questions? See, already we have calculated this for many times now, right? Arvind? Yes, okay. So I'll give you one more equation. So what is the runtime complexity of this equation? Oh, sorry. 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute, don't calculate. What is the runtime complexity of this? What is the runtime complexity of that entire algorithm? Arvind, Raj. How many times this statement gets executed? How many times this statement gets executed? Five times? Raj. What is the value of I? Arvind, what is the value of I? 1. Okay. So 1 is greater than 4. What is the condition? 1 is greater than 4. So how many times now? Now tell me how many times this would get executed? One time. If okay, so this one time, and now it goes here. So for j is equal to 0, j is less than n. So how many? What is the value of if j is equal to 0, j is less than n, j plus plus. So j is equals, so now calculate the j values. So how many times this gets executed? 0, this is often, right? 1, 2, 3, so 3 times. So usually it executes, this gets executed for often times. Okay, so why I'm explaining this? Because it is not always a rule that inside a for loop, if two for loops are present, it is not always O of n square. It is not always O of n square. It might be O of n. So we should always check for the conditions before calculating the time complexity, and then we have to decide. Clear? Aravind, clear? Raj. Okay. For one more last time, I'll give you an equation. Let me see if you can solve this time complexity. Okay. Let me see if you can solve this. See, this example is completely different. Take your time, solve this. If you solve this, then I'll from tomorrow we'll be starting our course. This is just a prerequisite, right? So time complexity is just a prerequisite. And meanwhile, Aravind, Raj, both of you write your comfortable languages. So this course would be Python. So are you okay with Python? Both of you. Python, okay. Raj, are you okay if this course is in Python? JavaScript. Okay. Raj, can you understand Python? Okay. What I can do is that, Raj, since you know JavaScript, see algorithm classes basically would be like this. Can you see here? This does not go with any language. It's a general thinking. Okay. So I'll explain the how we are trying to solve the problem. I'll write the code in Python, and I can give you those JavaScript codes after the class. How about that? Okay, clear? In class, I'll teach Python. I'll give you the JavaScript codes after the class. Okay. Okay. See, I'm telling you, this is different from what you have previously calculated. What have you calculated? Just let me know what is the time complexity of this entire algorithm. Come on, try to calculate. So this would be the end of this class. After this, we'll start tomorrow. From tomorrow, we'll start our course. Okay. This is the last topic of this today's class. No, it's not log of n plus log of n. Aravind? So, okay. So, you know one thing, that you have to calculate this plus you have to calculate this, and total will be your runtime, right? Fine. Okay. Just look at this for loop. So this for loop depends on p value. Okay. This for loop depends on j is greater than p, right? So what is this p value? Okay, what is this j value? J is so what is the runtime complexity of this? It would be log times p. Correct? This would be log times p. Is that clear? Is this clear why it is log p? Aravind? Yes. Okay. Now coming to this. So what is this p value? What is the p value here? No, p value. No, I'm not talking about the runtime complexity. I'm just talking about what is the p value. P value in terms of n. P value in terms of n. That would be log of n. Raj, are you able to get this? Okay. So alone, this statement alone, how many times this gets executed? That gets executed for log times of n, correct? Yes. So that means this p value gets executed for log times of n. So we are interested in knowing the value of p, not in the value of, because this p is equal to 0, right? Already I gave the value. That's fine. Leave those things. I don't want to confuse you more. So this entire statement, whatever the statement it is, if you want to express this in terms of runtime complexity, this runtime complexity would be log times of n. So this, see, whenever we are calculating, we calculate with in terms of statements. Whatever the statements it is executed, that is what we try to calculate, right? So when I is greater than n, this, okay, and let me erase all this. So that is p plus plus. Okay. So this runtime complexity of this, let's calculate the runtime complexity. So this would be p plus plus, right? So this runtime complexity would be log p. How? Because this runs for log n times. This runs for log n times. So since this depends on p-value, I can substitute this n with p, log p. Okay, since this depends on p, I can substitute this p-value with n. Sorry, I can substitute this value of n with p. Why? Because here I calculated the value of runtime in terms of log p. So I need a common stand. So this is log n, this is log p. Either you have to write log n plus log p, or you have to know what is the value of p, and then you can substitute. So what would be the value of what is the value of p in terms of n, in terms of log n? So that would be log of, since n is equals to log p, we can write it as log of p is equals to log n. Sorry, p is equals to log n, not this. P is equals to log n. So this would be log of log n. So here we are trying to get everything in terms of n, and we are calculating it. Either you can say this is log n plus log p, or you can say you can convert this p, you can get this p in terms of log n, and then you can substitute and you can say that anything will work. It can't be log n plus log n. Okay, it can't be log n plus log n, but it can be, you can express this p in terms of in terms of n, and then you can substitute it. So it goes by log of log n. Clear? Okay. One thing that you have to remember is, see, whenever a loop, any iterative loop, the condition value is being changed by another loop, then you have to express in this way. Whenever a condition statement variable gets changed by another loop, then we have to calculate in this way. Clear? Clear? Aravind, Raj, still unclear, Raj? Yes, okay. Okay, so I think by this you should be good with all this time complexities. So are you confident about calculating the time complexities? Or do you need more? Arvind, do you need anything more about time complexities? Okay, practice we will do. We'll do from tomorrow's class. We'll start with an algorithm. We'll try to decode the algorithm. We write in terms of code, and we discuss about its time complexity. Don't worry about those practice. But are you confident about time complexity, at least to calculate? If can you go to any code and calculate the time complexity now? Can you go to any code and okay, so let me write a code. Let's say we have an array of 1 2 3 4 5 6, so on, 5 6. Okay, for element in array, so this is nothing but taking each and every element in the array. Okay, for element in array, if that element is equals to k, then break okay, break for element in array if element is break. So k is nothing but a search, okay, a search element. is nothing but a search element. Okay, let me add this print found. I'm printing the element as found. And then out of this for loop, I'm writing print element not found. Okay, break, and even it's not right break. We can write return. Okay. Print element. Oh, sorry. Print element not found. Print that search element not found. Okay, that's it. And then a return statement. Okay, tell me what would be the time complexity of this function. Raj, for your understanding, I think Arvind, you are able to understand the code, right? Arvind, I think you are already in Python guy. Yes, okay. So I am not okay. So Arvind, you just calculate the runtime complexity of this. Meanwhile, I'll explain this to Raj. Raj, so I have an array. Okay, I have an array of elements. So here, this is nothing but extracting each and every element in the array, and I'm trying to compare this element with a search element. So let's say k is kind of search element. K might be 1 or any value, it can be any value. So I'm just saying if that, so in the first loop, what happens? Element would be 1. 1 checks 1 is equals to search element or not. And then for the second iteration, it would be 2. Then for the third iteration, it would be 3. Fourth iteration, fifth iteration, sixth iteration. So it's something until it loops through the entire array. Okay. Okay. How about Arvind? Okay. Now tell me, if my search element is 1, what happens? The search element is 1. What happens? How many times that for loop gets executed? Of 1. Then always, whenever the flow depends on some element, then you will have two things. One is best time complexity, that is O of 1. What is the worst time complexity? That is O of n. Clear? Clear? Arvind, Raj, both of you? Yes? Okay. So always write in terms of best time complexity and the worst time complexity whenever you see something like this. And so I think best time complexity would be always O of 1 or probably O of n. Worst time would be O of n square in some cases. Okay. It depends. Again, it depends on the algorithm. But you understood the logic, right? You understood how to calculate best time complexity and the worst time complexity. Is it clear? So for your interview purpose, these all matters. These all matters. Like what is the best time? What is the worst time? What is the average time? So average time would be in between best and worst. Okay, best and worst. Average time would be in between best and worst. We'll discuss those. I don't think so. Average times would be asked. Mostly they will ask you only the time complexity. If the question is all about time complexity, you always address the worst time complexity. Worst time complexity. If the interviewer specifically asks you about the best time complexity, then you can utter your best time complexity, explaining him how you came to that best time. That number, best time number. So you have to explain him how did you come. Like for example, as I told you, like if it is 1, then it would be over. That would be my best time. Okay, clear? Okay. So today's class is all about this. Tomorrow we'll be starting. What is the first topic in our syllabus? So have you, both of you guys, have you received the curriculum? Have you received the curriculum? So in that curriculum, I think there are 16 patterns. Okay, so Arvind, I'll send you the curriculum. I think I've passed it to Mr. Venkat.